Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of Sapient Thoughts, where we discuss theophilosophical issues, where we respond to some of those contentions by the detractors of Islam, in addition to putting forward some of our own arguments for the validity of Islam. Today we're going to be responding to a contention which some people, anti-Islamic apologists, have used, and even it's on some of their websites, about a hadith which talks about the black seed. And if you wanted to translate it literalistically, it would read that it's a cure for every disease. But is this the case? How could it be the case? I mean, is it a cure for cancer, for AIDS, for all of those things? Do we not need hospitals anymore? Cancer research needs to shut down because now we have the black seed? No, the hadith does not mean all of the diseases, barring none. This is, of course, a literalistic reading of the hadith, which has no bearing on the actual meaning of that hadith. And this is not even how the medieval scholars, the shurrah, the commentators of this hadith have understood it, even from as far back as Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani and other individuals like Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya and his Kitab Zad al-Mi'ad, and others who spoke about the black seed and this hadith in particular, and all of which, who I've read anyway, specify that it's not talking about all the diseases, but it's talking about many different kinds of diseases. And this is something which we know from the usage of the word kull, which is in this hadith, which is also used in the Quran. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Ahqaf, chapter 46, verse number 25, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تُدَمِّرُ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ بِأَمْرِ رَبِّهَا فَأَصْبَحُوا لَا يُرَى إِلَّا مَسَاكِنُهُم. That it destroys, there's a wind that destroys everything with the command of its Lord, so they came to be not seen except for their indwellings. And of course, this does not mean that this wind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about is a wind that destroyed everything, including animals and the earth and the cosmos, even though there's the exception there, إِلَّا مَسَاكِنُهُمْ, except for their indwellings. It doesn't mean everything was destroyed except for the indwellings. So the kull here is not intended by any means or any stretch of the imagination to mean every single thing on the face of the earth, let alone the entire existence or entire universe. This is impossible to extrapolate from this verse, and that is why many of the scholars have actually written books and treatises about this word kull, because many people that employ literalistic understandings of the Arabic language do not understand these kinds of usages. So Suyuti wrote a book, Al-Kull wa ma alayhi tadul, or the word kull and what it implies or what its evidences or shows. So this should be very clear now, that the black seed is not actually a cure for every single disease except death. It's not a cure for every single disease, because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself told us that Allah has not sent down any disease إِلَّا وَضَعَ لَهُ دَوَاءً, except that He sent down with it, or كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, that except that He sent down with it, a cure. In other words, for every specific disease, there is a lahu, a وَضَعَ لَهُ. Allah has prescribed for it a cure, a specific cure. And thus, if this was not the case and black seed could solve all of our problems, then such a hadith would indeed be a futile one and would not make any sense. So that is why we have to look at the entire corpus of hadiths before we rush to conclusions. In summary, therefore, those individuals who try and use this hadith and others to try and mock Islam and Muslims are but surely lost in their own ignorance, and indeed have a very superficial understanding, newspaper understanding, cursory understanding of the hadith tradition. And I hope that is intellectually as satisfying as it is for you, as it has been for me. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.